Alright, welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair. Today we're just trying out some new camera stuff and hardware, so just bear with me please. But today we're going to be checking out a 2014 Gretsch Electromatic Pro Jet. So these are pretty cool guitars. They're like a single cut, they're neck through design. And the last time I tried one, I remember it having really nice pickups and really liking the sound of it. So this guitar, we're going to go over today and see what it needs. We're going to check the setup. We're going to get it a restring and just make sure everything's working on it and fix anything that needs fixing. So right off the bat, it's in pretty good shape. There are a few little scuffs and dings. There's a little mark right there on the finish. But nothing major. I believe a lot of this will clean up nicely. Looks like there's a bit of gunk on the back, but no chips. And these are the black Filtertron, the black top Filtertron pickups, which is a Gretsch pickup. I've also noticed that one of the knobs is missing, but I do think I have a Gretsch knob in my parts box somewhere, so I'll have to dig through that and find it. And it's got a really nice Rosewood fretboard. It's got those acrylic inlays. And it's got vintage style tuners. This is a Chinese made Gretsch, but I found the quality on these to be pretty surprising sometimes. They're quite good. Alright, so yeah, you've got your binding around the body, and the fingerboard is bound as well. So let's go ahead and get some specs here. Okay, weighing in at 7 pounds, 13 ounces. So here we have the neck contour. So it's a pretty straight C shape, and stays pretty consistent throughout the 12th. As far as chunkiness, I would say it's kind of like an average sized neck, probably like a 60 style Gibson. So first fret neck width is 1.698, and at the 12th that beefs up to 2.05. And let's check the depth. So first fret neck depth is 0.826, and at the 12th that goes up to 0.919. The fretboard is Rosewood. It appears to be in good shape. The nut looks like it's cut nicely, and the inlays all look good. One thing I did want to mention is the frets are in not great shape. They're not really worn, but they're quite rusty and oxidized. Some kind of corrosion on there. They're kind of green and covered with some sort of rust-like stuff. So, and the fretboard itself is pretty dry. It looks like it's definitely going to need to be cleaned and hydrated. So on the back pickup, we're looking at our multimeter's reading at 4.30. And then our front pickup are reading at 4.17, so pretty consistent. And in the middle, we're getting a reading of 2.13. Alright, let's check the radius and the scale length. So it looks like we have a scale length of 24.6 and a radius of 12 and a 12 radius. Alright, here's a look at our bridge and tailpiece. So this is kind of like an ABR1. It has the wire in front for the saddles that need to be removed for adjusting, and it seems to be unbranded, and it's in good shape. It's not collapsed or anything. And this is our tailpiece, which is just kind of a standard tailpiece, unbranded. Feels like it's full weight. Alright, so here's a look at our pickups. Just gonna remove them from the top here. So yeah, it looks like it's just got a standard sort of pickup route there. Can't really see the thickness because it's all covered in paint. And the pickup just says neck pickups BK or BHK. So yeah, that's just their in-house pickup branding. And then this one just says bridge. The pickup routes look clean, but I can't really tell if there's a cap on this or anything. I think it's just one piece, and I believe I saw in the specs that these are basswood. Alright, so let's have a look at the back. Alright, here we are looking at the cavities. So yeah, it looks like these are chambered as well. So that's you can see some of the chambering right there. And it looks like they're using full-size pots, which is nice. There's the master volume pot, and you can see some more chambering there. And this is the switch. So yeah, all the routes look nice, all the covers fit well, and all the wiring appears to be all original. Alright, so here's a look at the truss rod channel. Looks nice and clean. The truss rod itself looks like it has barely been touched, so I don't imagine it's ever been adjusted. There's still paint on it from the factory. And I just checked the relief in the neck and it's correct. So now we can go ahead to moving on to cleaning up these frets, hydrating and cleaning the fingerboard. Okay, so now we're going to be working on the frets a bit. So I just want to make sure that the frets are relatively clean before I putting on the buffing wheel. Just want to go over it with Dunlop 65, just to get all the grime off. And I'm using a microfiber cloth. So that's gotten rid of most of the grime there. And I also want to just check the frets with a fret rocker, just to be sure that we don't have any high frets that we need to address before we start this whole process. So I'm going to go ahead and, so you put the rocker along 3 frets and just rock it back and forth to see if there's any significant high spots. So what the high spots are going to do is they're going to lead to fret buzz, because the level, or the frets aren't level, so there's a high spot that makes the string rattle. So if you're trying to get very low action, you want to try to have nice and level frets. to make sure that you can get as low as possible without any issues. A little bit of a high spot there, but nothing major. It's not like the amount that the fret rocks tells you how unlevel the frets are, and that was very minor, and that was the only spot that I could really find so far. So I would say I'm just gonna leave that for now and see how low we can get the action. If there is a problem, we know that there is a bit of a high spot here at the 7th fret, so we can do a partial fret level right here if it ends up being a problem. But a lot of the time, a little bit of unevenness won't even cause a buzz. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so here we're at the buffing wheel. We're gonna go ahead and buff the frets and see how they look afterwards. Alright, so here they are after the buffing. It's all nice and super shiny and smooth. Alright, so now we're just going to clean and oil the fretboard. Just using the Dunlop 65 to clean off any of the residue from the buffer. Sometimes it leaves this kind of a black mark on the binding, and that's just the fret residue. Sometimes it can leave a little bit of that black residue on the fret as well. This is the fingerboard cleaner. So this is specifically made for fingerboard. I'm just going to use it. It seems to be a little harsher than the 65 to get off grunge and whatnot. So I just want to make sure all that fret stuff is cleared off. So that all looks good. And then I'm going to use a little bit of the Dunlop 65 fret oil. And this stuff just works good. It's lemon oil. And I find one bottle lasts you forever. Then I just like to rub it in with my finger just to make sure it's going into the pores of the wood. And then I'll just take a rag and go afterwards to make sure any excess oil is cleaned up. And I think it also helps it get into the pores of the wood. Alright, all done. Now I'm going to go ahead and put on the additional knob, which is going to go right there. I just need to go find it. Then I'm going to clean up the guitar a little bit with the Dunlop 65 on the finish, and then I'm going to go ahead and restring it. Alright, here we are. So it's all tuned up and restrung. I got the new knob on there. If you notice, it's just a slightly different color than the other knobs. Yeah, it just might be slightly different weathered. And over time, that's just kind of how it looks. So I put it on its own rather than with the other three, so it's not quite as noticeable. Yeah, so now we're just going to check the setup. So let me see if I can get this on camera right. So on the 3rd fret, if we check the action, if I hit that 3rd fret down, you can see what the action looks like. So it's just resting on the 1st fret, and it's doing that for every string. So that means that the nut is cut correctly, and we have good action at that 1st fret. And then on the 12th fret, we can check it with our millimeter gauge. So on the 12th fret, it looks like we're sitting at between 1.5 and 2 for the high E, or sorry, for the low E, and about 1 and 1.5 for the high E. So nice low action there. And then I'm going to go ahead and check the entire fretboard to see if there's any bugs. Alright, so I've tried all the frets and there's no buzz anywhere. The action's nice and low. The frets are now nice and shiny after the polish. And the truss rod is set correctly and it's intonated. And I intonated using the Peterson strobe tuner, so it's quite accurate. And yeah, so nothing left to do except to cut the strings, put the truss cover back on, and then we'll plug it in to see how it sounds. Okay, so we're plugged into the 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue. I'm using an attenuator, the Bugera PS1 Power Soak. I have the amp running at about 6. And we're just going to get some clean tones here, and then some chords, and then we'll try out some dirt as well. So here we go. Pickup. I'm going to move to the neck here. Back to the bridge, we're going to try some picking, some chords. Okay, to the neck. Middle. it's clean with just a little bit of breakup. So yeah, the pickups sound really good. I especially like the bridge. It's nice and crunchy. That really nice Filtertron sound. Just kind of like a humbucker mixed with a little bit more spank. The controls are, we've got our master volume here. This is the knob that was replaced. So you can see up close, it's just a slightly different color. It's the same knob. I think it's just kind of older, so it's like oxidized and changed color a little bit. So this is our master volume. Then we've got individual volumes for each pickup and then a master tone. So now I'm just going to try it with a little bit more dirt. So I'm going to turn on my Toro servo pedal, which is like a boost. And that's just going to push the amp a little bit harder. Crunch. Here's the next same riff. Pretty great. A little bit of distortion. It's a really nice sounding guitar. I really like those black top Filtertron pickups on here. They sound really great, either clean or with a little bit of distortion. Here, I'm just going to turn off the amp here. So yeah, now that we're at the end, what's my overall thoughts on this Gretsch Electromatic? Yeah, great guitar. It needed a little bit of work. The frets were all kind of rusted and corroded and they needed some attention. But it didn't require fret level or anything, just a buffing and polishing. And the construction of this guitar and the quality seems great. I don't see any finish flaws or issues with really anything. It's got some really nice looking rosewood, some nice acrylic inlays. The neck has got some really nice string pull at the nut, like to the tuner, so it's nice and straight, so that really assists in good tuning stability. It's got nice binding around the fretboard, binding around the body. This body is basswood, but yeah, I don't see any issues with it. It sounds really good plugged in. It's chambered too, so it's pretty light. And yeah, the quality of the parts seems really good. It's got really good components on the inside, like full-size capacitors and everything like that. The tuners seem to be decent. They hold tune well. They're kind of the vintage style. And the frets seem fine. They need, like I said, they need a little bit of work, but they're good now. As far as condition of the guitar, it's in really nice condition. Once I polished it up, a lot of stuff that I thought was marks was actually just dirt and gunk that was around it. The only notable ding is, I'm not even sure you'll be able to catch it on camera, but right about here, there's just one little dimple on the finish, yeah, right there. And then other than that, it's in really nice shape. So yeah, that'll be it for today for Beckler Guitars and Repair. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.